Welcome to another edition of You Be the Judge. Is Barack Obama the Antichrist? Every time a new and exciting charismatic leader appears on the scene, there are some people in religious circles that begin to speculate on the probability of that person being the Antichrist. Many thought Adolf Hitler or Joseph Stalin was the Antichrist. Some popes have been considered for the role of Antichrist or false prophet, and some even feared that the American president John F. Kennedy was the man of sin until his deadly head wound went unhealed. Oddly enough, there seems to be little concern about the possibility of Barack Obama being the man of perdition, despite there being a few websites dedicated to the proposition. Therefore, I'm asking the question, is Barack Obama the Antichrist? He is certainly charismatic and capable of massive influence over people. He draws record number crowds, and people hang on every word he says as though it were gospel truth. Words like change. Yet his birth certificate has been sealed along with other information that willing accomplices hide from public scrutiny until after the election. He has often been referred to as the Messiah. Rush Limbaugh gives him this title with disdain and sarcasm, while Louis Farrakhan tells his followers affectionately and reverently that Obama is indeed their Messiah. This is a thought hard to grasp, since Farrakhan always acted like he was the man. He must be the false prophet giving his power to the real man. Nevertheless, we see crowds of people, press, and party leaders throwing palm branches at his feet as he rides into town. Regardless of what he says or doesn't say, many seem completely awestruck with the man. Now, I'm actually sure that he is not the Antichrist. I don't think he's qualified for that job either. However, I am concerned about what we have become as a people in this nation, that we are so willingly capable of following any man with the level of blind worship and adoration as some have given this man. My wife keeps reminding me of the time the children of Israel wanted a king like everyone else when they apparently became dissatisfied with having God as their king. God told them, "I'll give you a king." Go and read how that turned out. I realize just how starved the world and our country is for real leadership. If you think the president's approval rating is bad, then look at the Congress's rating. Across the land, people are dissatisfied and disgusted with leadership at every level of society. From federal, state, city leaders to business and even religious leaders, people in every walk of life have lost confidence in our current leadership. They still want and feel the need to have someone lead them. But we are on dangerous ground when we are willing to be led by a person with the best marketing handlers, regardless of the lack of real substance or content. Anyone wanting the job can promise the world if they have the chutzpah to say the words. It's our responsibility to listen, get the facts, and discern what's real and what's true. The Apostle Paul, in his second letter to the Thessalonians, gave us some insight into the Antichrist and the world's mindset to let him lead them when he declared, "But don't be fooled. People will rebel against God. Then before the Lord returns, the wicked one who is doomed to be destroyed will appear. He will brag and oppose everything that is holy or sacred. He will even sit in God's temple and claim to be God. Don't you remember that I told you this while I was still with you? You already know what is holding this wicked one back until it is time for him to come. His mysterious power is already at work, but someone is holding him back. And the wicked one won't appear until that someone is out of the way. Then he will appear, but the Lord Jesus will kill him simply by breathing on him. He will be completely destroyed by the Lord's glorious return. When the wicked one appears, Satan will pretend to work all kinds of miracles, wonders, and signs. Lost people will be fooled by his evil deeds. They could be saved, but they will refuse to love the truth and accept it. So God will make sure they are fooled into believing a lie. All of them will be punished because they would rather do evil than believe the truth. That is in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 3 through 12. Apparently, the Thessalonians knew something we still aren't very sure about. However, we haven't seen Mr. Obama pretend to perform miracles, wonders, or signs. Still, I think it is a wonder to see how the crowds flock to this man, or any man like him for that matter. It is easy for some people to get caught up in the hysteria. This hysteria demonstrates to me that the world is increasingly ripe for the real men of wickedness to appear on the scene. From one end of this planet to the other, we can recall many examples of leaders being swept into power through deceit, deception, coercion, or even force, only to leave a trail of destruction and death instead of fulfilling the promises they made to get their power. In many instances, the media is the biggest pawn for the installation of corrupt leadership and even the destruction of good leaders. During the course of this never-ending election cycle, several people have asked me who was to blame for the bad things happening in this country. I could tell by their tone and their technique they were trying to get me to blame one person. Rather than play into their manipulation of blaming the guy at the top for all the problems, I would ask them a question. Do you build a building from the top down or the bottom up? I would then explain to them that I, as a builder, had always started with the foundation and worked my way up. It was amazing to watch the light turn on in their heads at this new revelation. I would then proceed to tell them that we at the bottom, the foundation of American society and culture, controlled who got to the top with a very simple right: the right to choose and the right to vote for the ones to lead us. If we make the wrong choice, we have no one to blame but ourselves. If we refuse to exercise that freedom, we are left to have to deal with the choice, right or wrong, of others. We do not need to feel overwhelmed or insignificant and believe the lie that we can do nothing and that our vote doesn't matter. The choice is ours to participate. One way or the other, we will all bear the consequences of those that do participate. Therefore, win or lose, get informed. Play a part in your own future. God has His plans for the future and His will be done. But today, in this country, your future is in your hands. Do something about it. Participate.